I smoothed my blouse and checked my reflection in the rearview mirror one last time. The conference center loomed ahead, a modern glass behemoth that seemed to swallow the morning sun. Ethan, my husband of 30 years, squeezed my hand. "You've got this, Jules," he said with a reassuring smile. "Your presentation will knock their socks off." I nodded, willing myself to believe him. After decades as a social worker, I should have been used to public speaking, but this national conference was different. Bigger. More important. As we walked toward the entrance, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. "Julia? It's Lily?" My stomach clenched. Ethan's sister had impeccable timing, as always. "Lily, hi, I'm actually just about to—" "Oh, good. I caught you." She steamrolled right over my attempt at polite dismissal. "Listen, I need a teensy favor." I glanced at Ethan, mouthing Lily with an eye roll. He grimaced sympathetically. "What kind of favor?" I asked, already dreading the answer. "Well, you know that yoga retreat I've been planning?" How could I forget? It was all she'd talked about for months. Yes, the venue fell through at the last minute. Total disaster. But then I had the most brilliant idea. My breath caught. I had a sinking feeling where this was going. "Your cabin would be perfect," Lily gushed. "All that fresh mountain air, the peace and quiet. My students will absolutely love it." "Lily, we can't." "I know it's short notice, but it would mean the world to me. And you're not using it this week anyway, right?" I pinched the bridge of my nose, feeling a headache coming on. "We just finished renovating, everything's still settling in, and we won't be there to—" "Oh, don't worry about that. I'll take excellent care of everything. You won't even know we were there." Somehow, I doubted that. Lily's definition of excellent care left much to be desired. "I'm sorry, but the answer is no," I said firmly. "We're not comfortable with anyone using the cabin when we're not there, especially not for a large group." There was a pause. Then Lily's voice turned cold. "I see. Well, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. You've always been rather selfish when it comes to sharing." The accusation stung, even though I knew it was unfair. "That's not true, Lily. We just—" No, I understand perfectly. Your precious cabin is more important than helping family." Message received, loud and clear. The line went dead before I could respond. I stared at the phone, my hands shaking slightly. Ethan touched my arm. "Everything okay?" I shook my head, relaying the conversation in clipped sentences. Ethan sighed. "I'm sorry, Jules. I'll talk to her later, make her understand." But I knew it wouldn't help. Lily had never respected our boundaries, always pushing and prodding until she got her way. As we entered the conference center, I tried to focus on the day ahead. But Lily's words echoed in my mind, along with a nagging worry. She wouldn't actually go against our wishes, would she? The thought made my stomach churn. I had a terrible feeling this wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I tried to push Lily's call out of my mind as Ethan and I entered the conference hall. The buzz of conversation and clinking coffee cups filled the air, but I couldn't shake the unease gnawing at my stomach. "Jules, there's Dr. Ramirez," Ethan said, nodding toward a distinguished woman across the room. "Why don't you go say hello? It might help take your mind off things." I plastered on a smile and made my way over. Dr. Ramirez greeted me warmly, but as we chatted about the upcoming presentations, my phone buzzed again. "Lily." I silenced it, focusing on the conversation. Moments later, it buzzed again and again. "I'm so sorry," I said to Dr. Ramirez. "Would you excuse me for just a moment?" I ducked into a quiet corner and answered the phone. "Lily, what is it? I'm in the middle of—" "Julia, thank goodness." Lily's voice was breathless. "I've been trying to reach you. Listen, I know you said no, but I really need you to reconsider about the cabin." I pinched the bridge of my nose. "We've been over this. The answer is still no." "But you don't understand." Lily's voice rose. "I've already told everyone it's a go. I can't back out now. Do you have any idea how embarrassing that would be?" My jaw clenched. "That's not my problem, Lily. Lily, you should have waited for our permission before making promises." "Come on, Jules. Don't be so rigid. It's just for a few days. What's the worst that could happen?" Images flashed through my mind. Broken furniture, stained carpets, scratched hardwood. A lot, actually. That's why we said no in the first place. Lily's tone turned wheedling. "I'll be extra careful, I promise. And I'll owe you big time. Please, Julia. I'm begging you." I closed my eyes, torn between frustration and guilt. "Lily, everything okay?" Ethan appeared at my elbow, concern etched on his face. I covered the phone. "It's your sister." Again, he held out his hand. "Let me talk to her." Gratefully, I passed him the phone. As Ethan spoke to Lily, his expression hardened. "Absolutely not," he said firmly. "We've already told you no, and that's final. You need to respect our decision." There was a pause as Lily responded. Ethan's face darkened further. "Don't you dare try to guilt us about this. We have every right to set boundaries, especially when it comes to our property." Another pause. Ethan's voice rose. "If you so much as step foot on that property without our permission, I swear I'll—" He broke off, staring at the phone. She hung up on me. I sagged against the wall. "What are we going to do?" Ethan ran a hand through his hair. "I don't know, but I have a bad feeling about this." Just then my phone chimed with a text. It was from Lily. "I'm sorry it had to come to this, but you've left me no choice. I hope you'll forgive me someday." My blood ran cold. "Ethan, look." He read the message, his face paling. "You don't think she'd actually—" I nodded grimly. "I think that's exactly what she's planning." Ethan's jaw clenched. "I'll call the sheriff. Ask him to keep an eye on the place." As he stepped away to make the call, I leaned against the wall, my mind racing. How had a simple conference turned into such a nightmare? And what were we going to do if Lily really did go through with her plan? The opening notes of the welcome speech echoed through the hall. I straightened, trying to compose myself. But as I walked back into the conference room, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of our troubles. The first day of the conference dragged on, my mind constantly drifting back to Lily and our cabin. During the lunch break, I checked my phone obsessively, half expecting to see missed calls from the sheriff or worse, Lily herself. "Any news?" Ethan asked, sliding into the seat next to me. I shook my head. "Nothing. I don't know if that's good or bad." He squeezed my hand. "No news is good news, right?" Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. My heart leapt into my throat as I saw Lily's name on the screen. "Lily?" I answered, my voice tight. "Julia, I've been thinking about what you said," Lily began, her tone suspiciously calm. "And I want you to know that I understand your concerns." I blinked, caught off guard. "You do?" "Of course. Family is important, and I would never want to jeopardize our relationship over something like this." Relief washed over me. "I'm so glad you understand, Lily. Thank you for—" "Which is why," she continued, cutting me off, "I've come up with the perfect solution." My relief evaporated instantly. "What solution?" "I'm here at the cabin now, and—" "You're what?" I nearly shouted, drawing curious glances from nearby tables. "Don't worry, I haven't brought the group yet," Lily said quickly. "I just wanted to show you how responsible I can be. I've child-proofed everything, moved all the valuables to a safe place, and even set up a cleaning schedule for my students." I struggled to form words, my anger and disbelief overwhelming me. Ethan leaned in, concern etched on his face. I put the phone on speaker. "Lily," I managed finally, "you need to leave. Now. We explicitly told you not to go there." "But Julia, if you could just see how perfect it is. The energy here is amazing. Your renovations really paid off." Ethan's face darkened. "Lily, this is breaking and entering. We could have you arrested." There was a pause on the other end. When Lily spoke again, her voice was cold. "You wouldn't dare. I'm family. Family respects boundaries," I shot back. "What you're doing is selfish and irresponsible." "Selfish?" Lily's voice rose. "I'm trying to help people find inner peace and enlightenment. You're the ones being selfish, hoarding this beautiful space all to yourselves." I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. "Lily, please, just go home. We can talk about this when we get back, but right now, you need to leave the cabin." "Fine," she snapped. "I'll go, but don't think this is over. You can't keep pushing me away and treating me like a child. I'm a grown woman, and I deserve respect." The line went dead. I stared at the phone, my hands shaking. Ethan wrapped an arm around me. "I'll call the sheriff again, have him check that she really left." I nodded numbly. "What are we going to do, Ethan? This can't keep happening." He sighed heavily. "I don't know, but we'll figure it out together." As we walked back into the conference hall, my phone chimed with a text. It was from an unknown number. "Julia, this is Sheriff Branson. Just checked your cabin. No sign of anyone there, but it looks like someone's been inside recently. Nothing seems damaged or missing. Want me to keep an eye on the place?" I showed Ethan the message. His jaw clenched. "Tell him yes, please." I typed out a quick reply, my mind racing. Had Lily really left? Or was this just another of her tricks? As the next speaker took the stage, I couldn't focus on a single word. All I could think about was our beautiful cabin, vulnerable and alone in the mountains, and the sinking feeling that this conflict with Lily was far from over. The second day of the conference dawned, and I felt like I was sleepwalking through a nightmare. My presentation loomed ahead, but all I could think about was Lily and our cabin. Ethan tried his best to reassure me, but the worry gnawed at my insides like a hungry beast. "Jules, you need to focus," Ethan said gently as we entered the conference hall. "Your presentation is in an hour. Try to put Lily out of your mind, just for now." I nodded, knowing he was right. But as I reviewed my notes, the words swam before my eyes. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Just as I was about to step up to the podium, my phone buzzed, a text from Sheriff Branson. "Mrs. Hartley, there's activity at your cabin. Several cars in the driveway. Want me to investigate?" My heart plummeted. I showed Ethan the message, my hands shaking. "Go," he said, understanding immediately. "I'll cover for you here." I slipped out of the conference room, my mind racing. In the quiet hallway, I called Sheriff Branson. "What exactly did you see?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "At least 5 vehicles, ma'am. Looks like some kind of gathering. I didn't approach, given your previous instructions, but I can if you want." I closed my eyes, fighting back tears of frustration. "Yes, please. Tell them they're trespassing and need to leave immediately." "Will do, Mrs. Hartley. I'll keep you posted." I ended the call, leaning against the wall for support. How could Lily do this? After everything we'd said, after all our warnings? My phone buzzed again. This time it was Lily. "Julia, you'll never believe how amazing everything is going. The energy here is just—" "Lily, stop," I cut her off. My voice sharp. "The sheriff is on his way. You need to leave. Now." There was a pause. "You called the sheriff on me?" Her voice was incredulous, tinged with hurt. "You left us no choice," I said, fighting to keep my composure. "We told you explicitly not to use the cabin. This is breaking and entering, Lily." "It's family property," she protested. "I have every right to." "No, you don't," I snapped. "It's our property, mine and Ethan's, and you're putting it at risk with your reckless behavior." "Reckless?" Lily's voice rose. "I'm helping people find peace and balance in their lives. How is that reckless?" I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. "Lily, please, just pack up and go. We can talk about this later, but right now you need to leave before—" Suddenly I heard commotion in the background, raised voices, a door slamming. "Oh no," Lily breathed. "Julia, I have to go. The sheriff's here and—" The line went dead. I stared at my phone in disbelief, my heart pounding. What had I done? Moments later, another text from Sheriff Branson. "Situation under control. All parties vacating premises. No damage observed, but you may want to come check things out when you can." Relief washed over me, quickly followed by a wave of guilt. Had I overreacted? Would this drive an irreparable wedge between us and Lily? As I stood there, torn between relief and regret, Ethan appeared in the hallway. "Jules, what happened? Are you okay?" I shook my head, fighting back tears. "I don't know, Ethan. I think I just made everything worse." He pulled me into a hug, and I let the tears fall. Over his shoulder, I could see people filing into the conference room, ready for my presentation, a presentation I was in no state to give. In that moment, I knew I had to make a choice. Stay and fulfill my professional obligations, or leave and deal with the mess waiting for us at the cabin. Either way, I feared the consequences would be severe. "Ethan," I said, pulling back to look at him, "we need to go home. Now." The drive back to our cabin felt interminable. Ethan's knuckles were white on the steering wheel, and I couldn't stop fidgeting, my mind conjuring worst-case scenarios with every passing mile. "I can't believe we left the conference early," I murmured, guilt gnawing at me. Ethan reached over and squeezed my hand. "Some things are more important, Jules. Family is more important." As we rounded the final bend, our cabin came into view. My heart sank. The driveway was empty, but I could see signs of recent activity. Trampled grass, a forgotten yoga mat on the porch. We had barely stepped out of the car when my phone rang. Lily's name flashed on the screen. "Julia?" Her voice was trembling. "I'm so sorry. I know I messed up, but you have to help me. Please." Alarm bells rang in my head. "Lily, what's going on? Where are you?" I'm still at the cabin. Well, near it. I couldn't just leave, not after what happened." I exchanged a worried glance with Ethan. "What do you mean? What happened? Lily, talk to me." There was a long pause, punctuated by what sounded like a muffled sob. "There was an accident. One of my students. She wandered off during a meditation walk. We've been searching for hours, but we can't find her." The bottom dropped out of my stomach. "You lost someone in the woods? Lily, why didn't you call for help?" "I was scared," she wailed. "I thought we'd find her. And then when we didn't, I didn't know what to do. I knew you'd be so angry." I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "Okay, listen to me. We're at the cabin now. Where exactly are you?" "About a mile up the east trail. Julia, I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen." We'll deal with that later, I said firmly. Right now, we need to find your student. What's her name? What was she wearing? As Lily rattled off the details, Ethan was already on his phone, calling the local search and rescue team. I scribbled down the information, my mind racing. Sit tight, Lily. Help is on the way. We'll be there soon. I ended the call and turned to Ethan, my heart pounding. What are we going to do? He pulled me into a tight hug. We're going to find that woman, and then we're going to have a long, serious talk with Lily. As we grabbed flashlights and water bottles from the cabin, preparing to join the search, my phone buzzed again, an unknown number. Mrs. Hartley? This is Ranger Thompson. We've got a situation up here on the mountain. A woman matching the description you gave has been found, but, well, there's been an accident. My blood ran cold. What kind of accident? The ranger's voice was grim. Looks like she fell from one of the cliff faces. It's not good, ma'am. We're going to need you and your sister-in-law to come down to the station to answer some questions. I ended the call, my hands shaking so badly I nearly dropped the phone. Ethan was by my side in an instant, his face etched with concern. Jules, what is it? I looked up at him, tears blurring my vision. They found her, Ethan, but she's hurt, maybe worse. And now the rangers want to question us. Ethan's face paled. Oh God, Lily. In that moment, standing in our beautiful cabin that had become the epicenter of this nightmare, I felt a surge of anger unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Lily's recklessness had finally gone too far, and now an innocent person was paying the price. I squared my shoulders, a cold resolve settling over me. Let's go. It's time to end this once and for all. As we headed out into the gathering dusk, I knew that whatever happened next would change our family forever, and I was ready to face it head on. The ranger station was a flurry of activity when we arrived. Lily sat huddled in a corner, her face tear-stained and pale. When she saw us, she leapt up, but I held up a hand to stop her approach. Not now, Lily, I said, my voice cold. We need to talk to the rangers first. Ranger Thompson led us into a small office, his face grim. The woman you reported missing, Sarah Jennings, is in critical condition. She's been airlifted to the nearest hospital. I felt Ethan's hand tighten on mine as the ranger continued. We need to understand exactly what happened. Mrs. Hartley, your sister-in-law claims she had permission to use your cabin for her retreat. Is that correct? I took a deep breath, fighting back tears of frustration. No, it's not. We explicitly told her not to use the cabin. The ranger's eyebrows shot up. I see. That complicates things. Just then, my phone rang, an unknown number. With shaking hands, I answered. Mrs. Hartley? A frantic voice came through. This is Tom from the fire department. There's been an incident at your cabin. A fire broke out. What? I gasped, my mind reeling. How? When? About 20 minutes ago, we responded to a 911 call from one of your neighbors. It looks like it started with a candle left unattended. We're doing our best to contain it, but... I couldn't breathe. The room spun around me as Tom's words faded into a dull roar. Our cabin, our beautiful, newly renovated cabin, up in flames. Ethan took the phone from my limp hand, speaking urgently with the firefighter. I turned to Ranger Thompson, my voice barely a whisper. There's been a fire at our cabin. His eyes widened. Good Lord. All right, stay here. I'll get more information. As he hurried out, Lily burst into the room, her face a mask of anguish. Julia, Ethan, I'm so sorry. I just heard. I can't believe. Oh God, this is all my fault. Something inside me snapped. Years of pent-up frustration and anger came pouring out. You're right, Lily. It is your fault. All of it. The trespassing, the missing woman, and now this fire. When will you learn that your actions have consequences? Lily recoiled as if I'd slapped her. I never meant for any of this to happen. I was just trying to what? I cut her off. To prove a point? To show us how responsible you could be? Well, congratulations. You've proven exactly the opposite. Ethan put a hand on my arm, his voice low. Jules, maybe we should, but I was beyond reason. No, Ethan. It's time someone told her the truth. Lily, your selfishness and impulsiveness have gone too far this time. A woman is fighting for her life. Our cabin is burning down, and for what? Your ego? Tears streamed down Lily's face. I'll fix it, I promise. I'll pay for everything. You can't fix this, I shouted, my voice breaking. You can't undo the damage you've caused. To that woman, to our property, to our family. The room fell silent, broken only by Lily's quiet sobs. Ethan pulled me close, his own eyes glistening with unshed tears. Ranger Thompson reappeared, his face grave. I've just gotten an update. The fire's spreading faster than they can contain it. And there's something else. My heart sank. What more could possibly go wrong? The fires jumped to a neighboring property. The porter's cabin is now in danger too. I sagged against Ethan, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the disaster unfolding around us. Our cabin, our neighbors, a critically injured woman, all because of Lily's reckless actions. As the gravity of the situation settled over us, I realized we were standing at a crossroads. The decisions we made in the next few hours would shape not just our family's future, but the lives of everyone affected by this tragedy. I straightened up, meeting Lily's tear-filled eyes with a steely gaze. It's time to face the music, Lily. All of it. The acrid smell of smoke hung in the air as we raced towards our cabin. Flashing lights from fire trucks and police cars illuminated the night sky, casting an eerie glow over the familiar landscape. My heart pounded in my chest, a mix of fear and anger coursing through my veins. As we pulled up, I gasped. Flames licked the sky, engulfing what should have been our cabin. But something was off. The shape was wrong, the placement. Julia, Ethan's voice was tight with disbelief. That's not our cabin. Realization dawned, horror washing over me. Oh God, it's the porter's place. We scrambled out of the car, Lily trailing behind us, her sobs barely audible over the roar of the fire and the shouts of the firefighters. A firefighter approached us, his face grim beneath the soot. Are you the Hartleys? I nodded, unable to find my voice. Your cabin is safe, he said, and I felt a momentary wave of relief before he continued. But I'm afraid your neighbors weren't so lucky. The fire spread quickly, and... How? I managed to choke out. How did this happen? The firefighter hesitated, glancing at Lily. We found evidence of candles, incense. It looks like someone was using the cabin without proper safety precautions. Lily's wail cut through the night. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought it was your cabin, Julia. I never meant to. The world tilted on its axis as the full weight of Lily's mistake crashed down on us. Not only had she trespassed and endangered lives, but she'd done so on the wrong property entirely. Ethan gripped my arm, his face ashen. The Porters, are they? They weren't home, the firefighter assured us, but I'm afraid the damage is extensive. The cabin's a total loss. Relief mingled with fresh horror. Our friend's home, destroyed because of our family's drama. Just then, I spotted the Porters arriving, their faces a mask of shock and grief as they took in the scene. Without thinking, I rushed towards them, Ethan at my heels. Martha, John, I called out, my voice breaking. I'm so sorry, this is all our fault. Martha turned to me, confusion mixing with the anguish in her eyes. Your fault? Julia, what are you talking about? As I opened my mouth to explain, Lily pushed past me, falling to her knees in front of the Porters. It was me, she sobbed. I thought it was Julia and Ethan's cabin. I brought my yoga group here, and... The Porters stared at her in disbelief as Lily poured out the whole sordid tale, her disregard for our wishes, the missing student, the careless use of candles. I watched as their expression shifted from confusion to anger to a deep, profound sadness. John's fists clenched at his sides, while Martha's hand flew to her mouth, stifling a cry. How could you be so irresponsible? John's voice was low, dangerous. Everything we owned was in that cabin, our memories, our lives. Ethan stepped forward, his voice steady despite the tremor I could see in his hands. We'll make this right, John. Whatever it takes. But I knew, looking at the devastation around us, that some things couldn't be made right. The trust we'd built with our neighbors, the peace we'd found in this mountain community, all of it was going up in smoke, just like the Porter's cabin. As we stood there, the gravity of the situation pressing down on us like a physical weight, I realized we were at a crossroads. The decisions we made in the coming days would define not just our family's future, but the lives of everyone touched by this tragedy. I turned to Lily, my voice barely above a whisper. I hope you understand now. This isn't just about you anymore. It never was. The look of utter devastation on her face told me that, finally, the message had sunk in. But as I gazed at the smoldering ruins of the Porter's home, I couldn't help but wonder, was this realization too little, too late? The days following the fire blurred together in a haze of insurance claims, police reports, and tear-filled conversations. Ethan and I barely slept, caught in a whirlwind of damage control and guilt. Lily, for once, was silent, her usual exuberance extinguished by the weight of her actions. A week after the disaster, we all gathered at our cabin, the one that should have burned instead. The Porters sat across from us, their faces etched with a mix of grief and anger. Lily huddled in a corner, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. We've come to a decision, John Porter began, his voice gravelly with emotion. We won't press charges against Lily. A collective gasp filled the room. I felt Ethan's hand tighten on mine. Martha leaned forward, her eyes fixed on Lily. But we have conditions. I held my breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop. We want Lily to help rebuild our cabin, Martha continued, not just financially, but physically. Every weekend, every free moment, until it's done. Lily's head snapped up, her eyes wide with surprise, and, was that relief? Of course, she whispered. Anything. I'll do anything to make this right. John's gaze softened slightly. And we want Julia to supervise the rebuild. We trust her judgment, and frankly, we're not ready to trust Lily on her own just yet. I nodded, a lump forming in my throat. We'd be honored. As the details were hammered out, I watched Lily closely. For the first time in years, I saw a glimmer of the sister-in-law I'd once adored. Humbled, sincere, willing to learn. Weeks turned into months, as we worked side by side, rebuilding not just the Porter's cabin, but the bonds between us all. Lily threw herself into the work with a dedication I'd never seen from her before. She listened, she learned, and slowly but surely, she began to change. One crisp autumn evening, as we put the finishing touches on the Porter's new deck, Lily approached me, her eyes brimming with unshed tears. Julia, she began, her voice thick with emotion. I don't know how to thank you for giving me this chance, for not giving up on me. I set down my paintbrush, turning to face her fully. Lily, No, please, she interrupted. Let me say this. I've been selfish and reckless for so long. I never stopped to think about how my actions affected others. But this has changed everything. I see now what real consequences look like, and I never want to cause that kind of pain again. Tears spilled down her cheeks, and I felt my own eyes welling up in response. I'm so sorry, she continued, for everything, and I promise, from now on, I'll do better, be better. In that moment, looking at the genuine remorse and determination in Lily's eyes, I felt the last of my resentment melt away. I pulled her into a tight hug, both of us crying now. I forgive you, I whispered, and I'm proud of you, Lily. So proud. As we pulled apart, I saw Ethan and the Porters watching us from the porch, their faces a mix of relief and cautious hope. That night, as we all sat around the Porters' new fireplace sharing stories and laughter, I realized something profound. This tragedy, as painful as it had been, had given us all a chance to grow, to heal, to become better versions of ourselves. Lily caught my eye across the room and smiled, a genuine, warm smile that reached her eyes. And I knew in that moment that while the path ahead might not always be easy, we would face it together, stronger and wiser for the trials we'd endured. As I leaned into Ethan's embrace, watching the firelight dance across the faces of our friends and family, I felt a deep sense of peace settle over me. We had weathered the storm and come out the other side, not just intact, but renewed. And in the end, isn't that what family is all about?